Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Classic Comics. Today I'm looking at Batman 109. So, this is written once again by James Tynion with art by Jorge Jimenez. And we pick up, and throughout this current storyline, it always opens with the scene of Batman under the influence of the Joker, or the Scarecrow, excuse me. The Scarecrow's fear toxin. And then this is at some point in the future, and then it cuts back to the present. And Oracle contacts Batman, and they confer. In the previous issue, Batman tried to infiltrate the Insanity Collective and learn more about them, and he did. And Oracle asks him what he found out, and he knows that Simon Saint was the one kind of putting him up to committing the crimes they were committing. And man, I mean, look at this panel right here. That looks fantastic. So he wants to know more about Saint and tells Oracle to get on that. And also to contact Ghostmaker so they can coordinate to try and find Scarecrow. We then cut to Ghostmaker's penthouse, or wherever he is, and he and Harley are together. And Ghostmaker has his own kind of lair, which is odd. I mean, he's only been in Gotham a little while, but he already has this big headquarters. And again, just a really cool panel, and he's got a dinosaur in his headquarters for no reason other than that, well, Batman has a dinosaur, so he wants to have a bigger dinosaur. And he also has a car he calls the Ghost Racer. He's obviously just trying to kind of outdo Batman in any way that he can. So Ghostmaker switches into civilian attire, and then they get kind of flirty. And then they have this little fencing, little duel here. Then this character, and I'm not familiar with this character, but this is the gardener, or Bella Garden, who I guess was Poison Ivy's roommate, I guess maybe lover in college. And she's kind of like Ivy. She creates these sort of plant-animal hybrid creatures. And she comes to see Harley because apparently Poison Ivy is underground, somewhere underneath Gotham, and she's sending these roots out that are sort of digging into the foundations of the city. And I guess she's planning to maybe try and collapse the whole city that way. And she asks Harley to try and see her and try and talk sense into her. Then we cut to Saint Industries. And again, Simon Saint is conferring with someone from the city. And then Batman shows up. And and this guy who's sort of Saint's manservant or whatever tries to stop Batman, and Batman takes him out easy. And then he demands to know where the Scarecrow is because he knows Scarecrow and Saint are working together. Now, Saint denies that he's working with the Scarecrow. And then he tells Batman about the magistrates, about that whole initiative, and basically how the city's ready for it now because of how much fear the city is in. And they're crying out for order and all this. And then he introduces Batman to Peacekeeper 1, who's going to be sort of the centerpiece of this new initiative. And he attacks Batman. And then City Hall blows up, and apparently it's Saint who was behind the bombing of City Hall. Again, just trying to stoke the chaos and stoke the sense of fear the city has. Batman then tries to slip away and contact Oracle, but he can't reach her. And then Peacekeeper 1 tracks him down, and again, we get another great panel here at the end where they're about to fight each other. Now, there's again a backup story with Ghostmaker. And, I mean, again, it's okay. I don't care much about it one way or the other. The artist, Ricardo Lopez Ortiz, and he's got a real manga style to his art. I mean, it's okay. But I just don't care much about this one way or the other. But the main story, continues to be good. I mean, Tynion's a very good writer, and Jimenez is just killing it on the art. And I do wish that these were full-length issues instead of just like 2/3 of an issue and then this backup. That's the main complaint I have. But other than that, just another solid issue. We're really seeing the groundwork being laid for future states and for the magistrate taking over Gotham and vigilantes like Batman essentially becoming fugitives. And, they seem to really not be backing off on that. They seem to be intent on going through with it, and I'm a little impressed with that. And I think part of laying the groundwork for this has been stripping Batman of his wealth. He has only a fraction of the wealth he used to have. Most of his wealth was transferred to Lucius Fox, so his family has it now. And, I understand doing that in some ways. Batman, over the years, he became increasingly wealthy. Originally, he was just, his family, they were like old money, and they had some money, but, they might have been millionaires. But over the years, Batman's wealth, it just kind of grew and grew. And then they introduced Wayne Industries, where it's this whole company he runs and everything. And basically, they got to the point where he's the richest man on Earth, except maybe for Lex Luthor. His wealth had gotten kind of ridiculous. And in some ways, I kind of like that they have stripped him of his wealth somewhat, so he's more limited in his resources. I think it makes more of a challenge for him. Now, the thing is, I don't believe they did this because necessarily it makes for more interesting storytelling or whatever. I think they just did it because, he's a rich white man and rich white people are bad, so they don't want him to be so rich, and that's why they've cut down his fortune. But, it works. And again, they're taking this in a very interesting direction, and I am impressed that they really seem intent in going through with this future state Gotham storyline where the magistrate runs Gotham City. Anyway, I do give this a yet another thumbs up. Do check it out. This current storyline is just really quite good. Let me know what you think of it in the comments. Also, please do subscribe to the channel and hit the like button. And also, please hit the bell for notifications. And I will see you all next time. Thanks for watching.